Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome once again to the Dr. Sky Experience, heard proudly here at Talk Radio 77 WABC. As we like to call it, the crown jewel of radio, the iconic 77 Talk Radio WABC, beaming out of New York City, the nation, the world, and I'm sure even out to the cosmos. What do we talk about on the Dr. Sky Experience? The great realms of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather, along with technology and great celebrity guests. And we're proud to say that we do have 2 live radio shows now, and appreciative of the management of this radio station. The Dr. Sky Experience, Friday midnight to 2 a.m. Saturday, Eastern Daylight Time. And then we have another show, proud to call it the second version of the Dr. Sky Experience, Saturday night midnight into 2 a.m. Sunday, Eastern Daylight Time. And if you have questions or comments while we're on the air, well, this is your show. 1-800-848-9222. That's 1-800-848-9222. And 9222, just in case you're curious, simply stands for WABC. Here's your Dr. Sky update for visual astronomy and how and ways you can get involved in looking at the wonders of the nighttime sky. From May the 15th to the end of the month by about the 31st. Well, I hope you got a chance to see that most magnificent full moon, the month of May. That occurred during the evening hours of May the 12th, the beautiful full flower moon, which lied in the near area of the zodiac constellation of Scorpius the Scorpion, riding low into our pre-summer skies. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this particular full moon was known as an apogee moon, meaning farthest away from the Earth during that particular calendar month, and that is this month of May. The moon then wanes, naturally, gets thinner and thinner, at least from its visible side, as it continues to shrink. And then we find out last quarter on the 20th of May, it rises nearly at midnight and is in the sky. If you look high up into the southern portion of the sky by sunrise, you can surprise neighbors and say, guess what? I can actually see the moon in the daytime. Most people don't believe that. But yes, you know better when you listen to the Dr. Sky Experience. Then the moon continues to wane. It gets thinner and thinner as a crescent, rising, of course, earlier towards sunrise, when it returns back to what we call the new moon. And that new moon phase occurs by May the 26th. The whole cycle then continues to continue on with another waxing moon. The next one of these lunations is number 1267. This goes back to, calendar events that were started around 1923 in keeping in accordance with lunar cycles. Remember, the closest moon of the month is a perigee moon, and the farthest is naturally what we mentioned before, a moon that is at the position that we talk about, apogee. Apogee occurred on the 11th, and the moon itself, as we move into talking about its close part, that of course occurred earlier during the month of May. So other interesting things to talk about. What about planets? Well, the evening sky used to be, just loaded with planets, but right now the only real planets that you can see easily would be the mighty Jupiter, the god of gods. Look high in the northwest. As the sun sets, the higher the latitude you are, of course, the sunset time gets later and later. But Jupiter still in a telescope is pretty impressive. Naked eye visibility, it's well over 550 million miles away from your eye. And that alone attests to the speed of light. And if you were to travel at the speed of light, which by the way is 670 million miles an hour, it would take you probably a little over 30-ish minutes to get to the planet Jupiter. The other planet that's visible is fading in our sky, Sad to say, the planet Mars, the red god of war, now moving into the zodiac constellation of Cancer. You can still see it with the naked eye, but hopefully you'll be in a much, much darker location. Morning planets, let's talk about that. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, exhibits a most brilliant view. If you look low into the southeastern part of the sky, you'll get to see that particular planet blazing in the heavens, a most magnificent sight. And maybe more toward the east, if your view of the southeast is obstructed, take a good look for Venus. Why does it shine so bright? Because it receives what light it gets from the sun, bounces off the cloud tops of Venus, and it was reflected back toward us. In astronomy, the amount of light received to the amount of light reflected is called albedo. So yes, Venus has a high albedo. She is the goddess, of love and beauty, and her planetary symbol, as you may or may not know, is the hand mirror. Some describe her as the quintessential narcissist, but I would rather just discuss planets for the beauty that they have and the visibility in our skies. Here's something interesting. As we move toward the latter portion of the month of May, remember I said new moon occurs around the 27th, and we'll find ourselves right around that time of Memorial Day celebration. So if you're out and about and away from city lights, this one is an appeal to people out in the country or those traveling to dark locations. Pay attention to that area in the southeast by about midnight. Why? Because the beautiful zodiac constellations of Scorpius and Sagittarius are going to be rising. What makes them so special? Well, to the left of Scorpius, remember the scorpion in the sky, which actually it really does look like a scorpion. Even the great Greek astronomers even noted that this object, this grouping of stars, it most resembled that of a scorpion, and take my word for it, if you get to see it in dark skies, you'll see up toward the head of the scorpion, you'll notice a brilliant reddish star called Antares. It's a red supergiant star about 500 light years away. But follow the chain of stars, yes, there really is like a long hook of stars reminiscent of a stinger, and there are two stars that make up the stinger, Shaula and Leseth, and those two stars make a magnificent Scorpius. But that's not the reason I'm mentioning this. Reasoning is this. About an hour after that, let's say into 1 a.m., if you're up and why not, the zodiac sign of Sagittarius is going to be rising. Now, this is important because you're looking at the core of the Milky Way. And this is a fascinating area with a pair of binoculars. So if you're by yourself doing this, all your oh wows and oh my gosh and some other things, you won't share it with anybody, but you'll be sharing something that is most magnificent. You'll be looking at the central region of our Milky Way, right in the heart of Sagittarius. So if you're with someone else, share the binoculars. Telescope is good to view that area, but not as good as a pair of binoculars. Why? We've mentioned this before in the Dr. Sky experience. Binoculars, using two eyes, they give you a wide field view of what necessarily in a telescope would be a very tight and confined view. Not that telescopes are bad. So take my advice, if you would. Take a look into the early morning hours right toward the end of the month, and you yourself will be treated, I assure you, if you have clear skies, moonlight will be virtually non-existent because that lunar cycle would not have started, or at least it's only going to be visible, that is the moon, in the evening sky. Now here's something for telescopic observers around the same time. If you follow where the planet Jupiter is and go to the left through the zodiac with Mars, you'll come to the next constellation of the zodiac, Leo the Lion. Now in between Leo and a brilliant star in Virgo called Spica, or Spica, however you want to pronounce it, there lies a region in the heavens there. You'll have to look at this and go and check a star chart. This is an area called the realm of the galaxies. Now, why would we be mentioning this? For more advanced telescopic observers, there's a plethora of galactic objects to see. Now, you're going to need a fairly decent telescope to even see some of these. My recommendation is at least a 6-inch type Dobsonian telescope. What's that? It looks like it was made in wood shop and schooled. The base, little piece of wood, and then there's a little cradle to hold the telescope. That little 6-inch Dobsonian is usually pretty affordable. So a 6-inch mirror and the lowest magnification, you'll get to see some of these galaxies. If you look at star charts, look up realm of the galaxies. And there's a number of these galaxies called Messier objects, named after a French comet discoverer. You can look into the nighttime sky, folks, on star charts and find these Messier objects. There's 1 through about 110. But in this region of the realm of the galaxies, just to the tail edge of the Leo the Lion constellation, left of a star called Denobula, let me assure you, you'll spy on these little faint blobs of light that are somewhere upwards to maybe 50 million light years away. Totally incredible. Questions and comments? My email is just drsky@wabcradio.com. And thanks to owner and operator John Catsimatidis and the executive staff for providing an opportunity for me to expand this podcast to a regular call-in radio show called the Dr. Sky Experience. Check us out. Friday nights, midnight, Eastern Daylight Time, till 2 a.m. Saturday. And then Saturday night, once again, midnight to 2 a.m. Sunday, Eastern Daylight Time. The contact number, 1-800-848-9222. Great guests, as you tell us. Lots of surprise guests from the realms of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather technology, and celebrity guests. And also, Sundays. Proud to be with owner and operator John Catsimatidis every Sunday morning for an update across the nation and around the world on the great Cats Roundtable. Dr. Sky reminds you to always remember to keep your eyes to the skies, your feet on the ground, and humbly, I'm your navigator on the highway to the heavens, a highway that as of yet, thank goodness, has no tolls. So it's free for the viewing. All you need to do is get out there and enjoy the mysteries of the world, the things we talk about on the Dr. Sky Experience. Clear skies and good health.